Being average is not a limitation. Having an average mindset is what limits you. The biggest blessings we have as humans is the blessing of relationships.
My guest today is someone who understands that your environment doesn't just shape where you are, it shapes what you believe you can become. Goodness Aula is an entrepreneur, a visionary, and someone who learned early that you don't need money to start a business. You need conviction. Before building companies, he was a kid in Nigeria, convincing his father that results speak louder than permission. Before leading teams, he was someone who went to Iraq to understand what life looks like when you step beyond your misconception of the other. A leader shaped by seasons, adventure, crisis, relationships, and hard decisions that come when you realize quitting might be the blessing you need.
Quitting might just be the blessing you need to kickstart your next level. Being a visionary leader is what sets you apart. So, first of all, what does it take to be a visionary leader? Have a big dream. Dream big, but start small.
From starting small while dreaming big to facing a health crisis you never saw coming, to understanding that sometimes quitting is not failure, it's graduation.
I want to take you to a season that you were never prepared for. Someone left you a message, and I want you to listen.
This conversation will give you clarity on the power of a relationship, the courage to walk your talk, and permission to understand that being average is only a limitation if your mindset makes it one.
Who taught you that?
Nobody.
Oof.
So
Take me to school. Take me to school.
I always tell people you don't pay to dream. So dream and dream big.
If this conversation gives you something, clarity, confidence, or simply a different way of thinking, then it's doing its job. This podcast exists to make cyber more human, to create space for leaders to think clearly and grow together without fear. I am Khalil McIntami, the stylish cyber guy. If this conversation resonates, then I simply ask, tell the others. That's how we build this community, one conversation at a time.
Goodness Aula. Welcome to the Stylish Cyber Podcast. This segment is the Life in the Trenches segment, and life in the trenches with a resilient leader. And the whole ethos behind it is for us to identify those game changers, those leaders among us who are making a dent in the universe. Today we want to cover you, your origin story, and to expose you to our audience. We want to also be of service to two type of audience today. The first one, the lost person who is still trying to find their way. The second, someone whom are still seeking a way, a path amidst these massive, rapid changes we're seeing happening around us. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Halil. It's a pleasure to be here today. And it's always exciting having to be given the platform and opportunity to share my story. Like you said, I believe that from the experiences that we've had in life, there's always somebody somewhere that needs to hear our story. We connect with each other as humans through our stories, and our experience is just what someone else needs to hear about to be able to take the next step in life. Therefore, I'm excited to be here today, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Let's do it, brother.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, to kick us going, who is Goodness Aula?
An interesting question.
And what mission are you on? What impact are you trying to have on the world? If you could please tell us.
Yeah, I find that question really interesting. Goodness Aula, that's myself, by the way,
Yeah.
is nobody special. It's just an average guy, a normal guy, not exceptionally intelligent, not outstanding. I always tell people that if I'm to describe myself, I'll describe myself as average. I'm not the tallest guy in the room, neither am I the shortest guy in the room. I'm not the smartest guy in school, neither am I the dull guy in class. I'm not from the richest background, neither am I from the poorest backgrounds. Therefore, my story is about what can become of an average person without necessarily being given an exceptional platform, just utilizing average to be all that you can be. Therefore, if there's anything we're going to be discussing today, is the story of an average person like you and I.
I love this. Already, I'm very excited. The small research that I've done on you, I'm going to read what I found in one of your companies. So you founded what, 3, 4 companies?
I think about 6 now.
6.
Yeah.
Wow. 6 companies.
Yeah.
So see, I'm 2 shots. So among the companies I found, it says Kenergy, Subdrill Services,
Yeah.
and recently Delia Lux.
Yeah.
In the Delia Lux website, it had you as a non-executive. And here's what I found. And I thought, after reading this, I said, I wanted to meet this version of Goodness. It says, and I quote, Goodness Aula is a distinguished business leader, global speaker, and author with a passion for fostering innovative solutions that stimulate entrepreneurial growth and propels business transformation on a global scale. As a startup specialist, he is renowned, I take it back, for turning visionary ideas into successful ventures, and is on a mission to help entrepreneurs gain clarity on their purpose and design strategies to build thriving businesses. With a career spanning over a decade, he has established himself as an expert in sectors such as oil and gas, construction, infrastructure, information technology, and energy renewables, where he is reputed for his strategic business insight, operational proficiency, innovation, and commitment to quality. Goodness, how did you get here?
Now, listening to you read that, I'm beginning to wonder if it's me you're actually talking about. Because when you sit down and look back in retrospect,
Yes.
It can be quite confronting when you see how far you've gone. Because the journey that we take in life in pursuit of our goals and visions and all that, it's usually just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Until you start looking back, you don't realize how far you've actually journeyed, how far you've gone. So when I hear stories like this, it's I'm beginning to wonder, because it still feels like yesterday when I started taking the first step. How did I get here?
Yeah.
That's a big question. I think it's just about being adventurous. It's just about being having a big vision, having a vision that is big enough to make you venture into the deep, to make you launch out into the deep, to make you want to do more than you're doing. And it's essential that we always have dreams and visions that are bigger than us, bigger than you. When I say bigger than you, sometimes we see ourselves as small. Sometimes the environment we find ourselves sort of limits how we see ourselves and how we perceive ourselves.
Absolutely.
Sometimes even people perceive us as small. So you want to have a vision that supersedes all those limitations, that supersedes your own individual view of yourself and what the world even perceives you like. So that vision becomes something that you're aspiring to achieve. It becomes who you want to evolve to be in the future. And that, when you have that kind of vision, you realize it starts driving you to do more, because at every point in time that you've not become that, you feel restless and you want to do more. You want to venture out. So others might be looking at you and thinking you're succeeding, but because of what you're seeing, you've not started. The vision you're seeing is bigger than where you are today. So you still want to do more. So you start the first business, the business is successful, and to everybody that's a win. But to you, that's not where you want to get to. And you realize you are venturing into a new business, not because you wanted to open 2 companies, but because you're chasing a vision that is bigger than where you are right now. Wow. And so the story behind 6 companies is just a young boy chasing a big vision, and I'm not there yet, so there's still more grounds to conquer.
So why don't we take a step back? You mentioned 3 things now that really spark some curiosity in me. Number 1, you said, I'm just an average guy navigating this world. Number 2, I'm a visionary and I stay locked in to my vision. And number 3, the ability to see opportunities.
Yep.
That's what the 3 things I'm getting. I want to get to know your context. What are the contexts that help shape who you are as a human being? I want you to take me back to those days when you are growing up.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm originally Nigerian.
Yeah.
I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Africa. Nigeria being, a great nation with great people, but poor leadership. It's created an environment that most young people grew up in, with so much inadequacies. So the environment itself almost seems to put a lead on your potential. So we're growing up in an environment as kids where you dream, but there's a limit to which you can dream, because when you look around you, there are not people really doing more than they're not even, you can't call them even average.
Yeah.
So it limits what your aspirations can be like. And aside that too, when you look at technological limitations, you look at financial limitations, because if you're developing products, you're coming up with an idea, it needs to be funded. You need the right technology to be able to develop prototypes. You need to be able to take it to the market. And these things are limitations that I grew up around as a child. However, as I grew up, I started getting, even as a little child, watching TV, and reading. I started getting more exposed to the global space. And
So as a little child, Goodness, what part of Nigeria are you? Yeah.
I grew up in southern Nigeria. I grew up both in the southeast and the southwest.
What is those?
So
What state?
yeah, there's a state called Enugu State, which is in the southeast,
Yeah.
and there is Lagos State in the southwest. I'm originally from Edo State, which is the south. So
Okay.
literally everywhere. South, yeah.
Interesting.
So growing up, and each of these regions I grew up played a key role
I want to know.
in building me to who I am today.
Excellent.
And I'll tell you that that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In the south, in the southern part of Nigeria, the first thing you would realize is that the southern part of Nigeria is the most educated part of the country.
That's true.
Growing up in the southwest, education is critical. There are communities. There's a particular community in southwestern Nigeria. I hear that it's a state. I hear that almost every family has a professor from that particular state. So when you grow up in an environment that is highly educated, it's natural that you would pursue education. So my parents, raised us up, letting us know that school was not an option.
Yeah.
You have to not just go to school, you have to be the best at school. So we grew up with that mindset. Then moving over to the southeast. The southeast is the entrepreneurial hub of Nigeria.
Right.
They are also educated, highly educated. However, they are very they have a very strong business acumen.
Right.
So the biggest market in West Africa is located in a city called Onitsha in southeast Nigeria.
Right.
So you see, there is a system of entrepreneurship within the southeast. You don't find that a lot in the southwest. The southwest is more professional. They go to school, they get a job, they work in government, they work in private sector. And the southeast, they are raised to be entrepreneurs. Even if they're going to school, they are still doing business on the side. So from the age of 6, 7, 8, they're already learning a trade. They're already picking up skills. They're already doing apprenticeships.
Right.
And the natural entrepreneurial skills are being honed at an early age. A lot of the boys in the southeastern part of Nigeria are not, many of them those days were not even getting so educated because they follow the entrepreneurial pathway early. Now, for us, or for me, as a child and my family and my siblings, we're caught in between this mix because we're coming from the very educated and professional side of the country, coming to this side that is very entrepreneurial. I remember growing up as a child, and at a point I challenged my parents. And I said, why are we not doing business? Because everyone around us is doing business.
Right.
Everyone is selling something and buying something. And why are we not doing business? And my dad would say, just focus on school and that's what you should.
So this was when you guys moved to Southwest?
Yeah, to Southwest.
Yeah.
Southeast, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
And by the way, so growing up in the Southeast, I started getting a lot of insights into entrepreneurship. I started naturally becoming challenged to ask myself, what can I do to make money?
Right.
Because that is the subject that everybody's speaking there, So
I'm still curious. Taking a step back to your time in the Southwest.
Yep.
I imagine that's when you did your primary school. What was it like?
It was,
you mentioned going to a lot of education is the core at the center. What's your household like? Yeah. You have siblings? Yeah.
I would say growing up, it was between the Southeast and the Southwest, back and forth.
Okay. Right.
Both places. Talking about my household, I've got 4 siblings with 5.
Yeah.
My dad was a typical civil servant, and he was an expert in procurement and supply chain, and at some point also went into running his own small businesses. My mom, on the contrary, she's also a civil servant. She didn't do business at all, worked professionally all her life. She worked with the United Nations, once retired with UNICEF. Now the kids, we are all professionals. I'm an engineer.
Right.
I have my immediate younger sister. She's an associate professor with University of Alabama. She's a scientist.
Wow.
My immediate eldest sister, she's a nurse in England.
Wow.
Then my elder brother, he's an accountant, a finance expert, currently in England also.
Wow.
Then the last born of the house, she's also a nurse in Australia. So it's a family of professionals.
Exactly.
Most of them are educated to a minimum. Most of us are educated to a minimum a master's degree, and some of them PhDs. So education is a big thing in my family. Yeah, if that answers it.
That because I want to understand what really made the childhood.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
So
yeah.
the environment was a key factor. We are shaped by our environment.
Absolutely.
That's where I was trying to get to with the story I was saying.
Yeah.
The environment shapes you. It shapes what who you are today, and it shapes what you see yourself as becoming in the future. Because your environment is giving you a perspective of what life would be like for you. Because you're looking at people around you. You're picking up mentors. You're picking up you're seeing people that their lifestyle motivates you. So being in Eastern Nigeria, irrespective of the fact that I had this professional environment at home where we are all aspiring to be successful professionals, the environment started challenging the status quo from what we knew at home. It started saying, "Can't you do something outside education, your conventional, education?
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do to be able to produce wealth, to be able to generate income, even at a young age?"
Yeah.
Because you've seen people do that, and I would say I would not be anywhere close to where I am in life today if I didn't grow up in Eastern Nigeria.
Wow.
So the moment I came of age, it was natural for me to start developing my business instincts because that was what the environment taught me to do. Yeah.
You just sparked so much curiosity even more.
Yeah.
What was it about that environment, especially that eastern part of Nigeria, that really started triggering something in you? And was it just you, or was similar things started happening to the rest of your siblings? Or are you the anomaly? Yeah.
Yeah, well, interestingly, it started with my elder brother. He studied accounting. He's
Okay.
natural. He's a money man, so
Okay.
you would expect that he should be the one doing business. So he's always talked about business. I didn't know I was gonna run businesses. I didn't know I was gonna be a businessman. I'm passionate about engineering. I've always loved engineering. I knew I was gonna be an engineer right from a young age. I started tinkering with things, building things, fixing things at a young age. I
Right.
ruined everything in my house,
What?
from plumbing systems. I broke everything open, to carpentry, to mechanic, fixing cars and all that, to electrical works. I did all that as a child.
Wow.
And naturally, engineering was something I was inclined to. However, at home, we would always talk, about business. My brother, being the older one, he's 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Got to when we started getting to our teenage years, he started reading a lot of books, read books by Robert Kiyosaki,
Yeah.
Poor Dad, read quite Think and Grow Rich, and quite a few others. And he comes to bombard us with all the information he has heard. He sits us down.
Yeah.
He's loaded us with everything. Oh, we need to think out of the box. We need to do things and all that.
Huh.
Then I was just assimilating the information. I wasn't really doing much with it until I think I started my first business. The first company I started it just in my final year in school. And that's because by then my elder brother had moved to Dubai. He was working in the banking sector in Dubai. So he did his master's degree there and then started working in the banking sector.
Right.
With my brother living in Dubai, which is a business hub, and me being a Nigerian in school, I started thinking, how can I leverage his presence there to do business in Nigeria? And I told him,
Wow.
just look for whatever you can buy, send it over, I'm going to sell it here, and let's try to make money. And that was my first adventure into doing business. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even know what product I was going to sell, but I just knew there was an opportunity. It's in a place where it's a business hub. I'm here where I think there's a need for products and services. If you can send the products down, I think I can sell it to people. Irrespective of whether I was studying engineering, I felt I could sell products to people, and that's how I ventured into business.
Wow.
Yeah.
So walk me through that moment.
Yeah.
You reached out to your brother. How did you manage to convince him to start sending stuff? Also, who raised that capital? Well, that first.
By the way, I like that. I always tell people you don't need money to start a business. You don't need money.
What do you need
But
then?
everybody thinks it's money that is stopping them from starting a business. Or I don't want to use just starting a business, pursuing your vision, your goal. Finance is the least thing you need, because you realize a lot of people waiting for finance to start pursuing their goals. When you sit down and start drilling down, the there are so many things they need to do before the money comes. If I'm to give you money today to start up a business, I won't give you money for nothing just because you have an idea. You have to be able to put your ideas together into a business proposal. You have to be able to have a business plan. You have to have written a business plan. Doing a business plan means you must have done your financial plan. You must have done the studies of the market. You must have done your cash flow analysis. You must understand what your break-even point would be. You must develop your products. So developing your products, packaging your products, your marketing strategy, identifying your niche, identifying your customer base. All these will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of research. It will take a lot of studying.
Wow.
So you realize that he's thinking that money is what he needs to start up his business. But the question is that do you have a product that can even go to market? If I give you money today and you've not done everything I've said, you're still going to fail. Because they say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely.
So you realize that people are looking at money because money is a good excuse not to pursue your dreams. The reality is that they are not committed enough to start the process of actually pursuing their dreams. And I always tell people, you will never get to the point where money is the showstopper and your dreams will not be achieved. Because before you get there, you will get the money.
Wow.
Why do I say that? Come with a good product and you will see people that are ready to finance it. It will naturally attract investment if the product is worth it. But if there is no product, if the product is good but it's not marketable, if the product is good but it's not convincing yet, I won't give you money even if I have the money to throw around. I'd rather put it in savings account where I'm sure I'll get some percentage on it.
Absolutely.
So that's it. So how did I convince my brother to do the business? Remember, he's always come up with the ideas of doing business and all that. I think convincing my brother was not the hard part. It was convincing my parents why I should be doing business. That's the longest part.
So walk me through that then.
It was a fight in my house.
Tell me that moment.
Yeah.
Take me to that scene. Yeah.
I think it was very dramatic because I remember when I came up with this beautiful idea, I told my brother, I said, just buy stuff, send down to me, I'm going to sell and all that. And we started thinking, remember what I said, you need money to start a business.
Yes.
Okay, if I'm going to get products and I'm going to sell to you, how do I sell the products?
Exactly.
That's the question I asked myself. How do I sell it? Would I just go to anybody and, so it started making me think, how is business done? I realized, okay, first things first, I need to register a business. So I started going through the process of registering. Remember, we are not talking of money to start business yet. Just registering the products, the company. By the time we're registering the company, I realized I need to consult a lawyer because I have to do I decided to do a limited liability company.
Right.
So I realized I need to get my articles of association done, my memorandum of association and all that.
Wow.
I knew nothing about, remember I was an engineer, or I'm an engineer. So nobody taught me anything about all this. So I realized I had more work to do in reading and researching on what company structures and businesses are like than looking for money. So I spent time building the knowledge. I went ahead to register my company. I remember when I went to register my company, that would take me back to the vision also. I would say this for free. There's a principle I always use when I talk to young people about starting businesses and people at different levels. I tell them something. Have a big dream. Dream big, but start small. In fact, you starting small does not mean your vision should be small. Your vision should be as big as it can be. But remember, you have to start very small. Why did I say this? When I went to register the company, I had the option of registering a business name versus registering a limited liability company.
Yeah.
And the business name was pretty easy. But because I had a big vision, I was thinking about conquering the world. I realized that I can't conquer the world with just a business name.
Yeah.
Therefore, I was barely...
yes, I want to ask how old?
I think I was probably between 19 and 20. So I went ahead and registered the liability company. When I went to register, they looked at me and they said, why do you need that? Why don't you just do a business name? Because with this, you have to get a lawyer, you have to do all that. I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. What are you going to use it for? I couldn't even put it to words, but I knew that I had a big vision and I did that. Now, bringing that backwards. I told my dad, I want to do business.
Yeah.
I want to work with my brother. And the first thing he said was, where is that coming from? Forget about it. He shut it down immediately. And for me, I knew I was going to do this. And I went to my mom. My mom, yeah, she was okay, all right. Yeah, but how are you going to do it? And, I kept talking about it. Every time I brought it up, my dad, in fact, at the point, my dad said, Goodness, you are an engineer. Focus on being an engineer. Don't get distracted. You're in your final year in school. You should be talking of coming out to the best grades, not going to start a business.
Yeah.
So that was the fight we were having at home. And I'm saying, yes, I would come out with a good grade in school, but I would still start a business alongside.
Wow.
So we fought back and forth. He didn't want to hear it. In fact, it was a case of, why is my mom even giving me ears at all? You should shut it down. Long story short is I went ahead on my own, got the business registered. And when I came back home and I showed my dad my certificate of incorporation, he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He said, you're serious? I said, yes, I'm serious about it. And that was the first time he sat down to now listen to me. And he said, okay, I think I need to guide you on some things.
Wow.
And he started sharing his own experience with me, and he started encouraging me. So that's where the journey started from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there is a lesson there. There's a lesson there. Some people might throw tantrum and, try and fight their parents. You did the opposite. You found a way to convince them.
Yes.
Why is that important to you?
Very simple answer. Result speaks for itself. Rather than fighting the forces that are against you, focus on delivering results.
Wow.
Nobody argues with results. Remember, my dad got convinced when he saw the certificate of incorporation, because he knows the process of getting a certificate of incorporation means you have put structures in place. I got a lawyer without him. I got people to work for me, even as a small boy in university, without any advice, without any help. The question is, how did I get to do all that?
Exactly.
The result alone was enough to convince him that this boy is down for serious business. And that was the starting point. Another important part is this.
Yeah.
I always tell people, you talked about visionary and being able to set a vision at the beginning of this. One other principle I always teach people is the fact that leaders are scarce.
Yeah.
But followers are always available. Mind you, to balance it up, it's not wrong to be either of the two. It's not a wrong thing to be a follower. It's not a wrong thing to be a leader. However, it's essential to know that leaders are scarce. Then it now makes it worse. Visionary leaders are even more scarce than just ordinary leaders.
Oof.
So being
Take me to school. Take me to school.
Being a visionary leader
Yeah.
is what sets you apart. So first of all, what does it take to be a visionary leader? You must be able to see beyond what everybody is seeing. Now, once you can set the vision right, and the vision is compelling enough, you would always have followers that are ready to follow every vision that has been established. So while I started with my passion, setting a vision to build a business without knowing what I was doing, I've never done it before, no mentors, nothing. Guess what? Before I finished school, I already had even my classmates offering to work for me right there.
Wow.
So by the time I was talking to my dad, I already had 2 employees who were from my class, because people are there to follow visionary leaders.
How did you get them involved?
Vision.
Can you walk me through what exactly you...
Vision is compelling.
Yeah.
The moment your vision overwhelms you and your vision has been properly articulated, when you start communicating your vision, people that are inspired by your vision would naturally jump on board the vision. So I start talking to my mates and I start telling them things like, I believe we can do more than we're doing right now.
Okay.
I believe we can identify opportunities, get products, and sell. Look at everyone around us. They're buying something from somewhere. Why can't I be the person providing what they're buying? And at that point, they're saying, okay, what if we are able to provide some of the things that our mates need, and we get paid for it, and we start making some money on the side while we're schooling. And they're saying, oh, that sounds pretty good. What does it take? Oh,
Yeah.
I've got somebody in Dubai. He's going to send stuff to me. When I bring it, are you guys going to help me sell? And they're like, yeah, we get, I didn't even know how to pay them or anything. But the point is, it wasn't even about the pay.
Pay me, yeah.
Good leadership is not a function of how much you pay people to do things. It's a function of influence.
Wow.
Once your passion, your vision is clear enough and strong enough and convincing enough, people will follow you voluntarily. They will follow you voluntarily. In fact, the most influential leaders in this world are people that were able to naturally motivate and inspire people to do things, not necessarily people that were able to cajole people, either by big salaries and all that. So influential leadership, is what we're talking about here. I was able to influence my mates to join me on a journey that I had created in my head, basically showing them where we can get to. And that was the beginning of everything.
Who taught you that?
Nobody. That's, I'll tell you, nobody. So I told you that you are a function of the environment you live in.
Exactly.
So the environment was shaping me consciously or subconsciously. So I'm looking at what is going on around me. I'm looking at how things are interacting. I'm seeing people be mentored by others. I'm also getting mentored directly or indirectly by people around me. So by the time I'm stepping out to do things, you wouldn't appreciate how much you've grown until you take on responsibility. The moment I started taking on the responsibility to build, to set a vision, and to map out a course for a noble cause to achieve, I realized that I had the capability to start influencing people around me. Then I also realized I had the capability for mentorship, because irrespective of the fact that they were my mates, they were happy to come into a position where they are learning from me and where I'm beginning to mentor them. So it was just tools that I picked from the environment I lived in.
Do you know, I couldn't agree more. Your environment shapes who you get to be.
Yeah.
And in that same environment, many have gone astray.
Beautiful.
Why are you different?
I think
What was happening at home?
Yeah.
What kind of discipline you are receiving at home? And the kind of education you are receiving on the street that is shaping you navigate and to you now articulating a vision. I need to know, why are you different?
I think when we talk about environment,
Yes.
it's essential to define what environment is. There is the external environment that is beyond your nuclear family,
Yeah.
which is the people you interact with outside your family, the state you live in, the country you live in, and all that. There's also I wouldn't call it totally internal, but it gets closer home, which is your immediate family. I think that has the strongest influence on you. It shapes your values. It shapes your character, and it harns a lot of hidden potentials within you.
Yeah.
It's either nurturing those potentials, or it is undermining or killing those potentials.
Absolutely.
So the environment where a child is raised is gonna be a driving force towards shaping what the child's perspective or perception of life would be, and the child's ability to be able to internally hone his potentials. So I believe a child is like a flame that is started. You have as a parent or as a guardian, you have the responsibility to fan the flame and make it grow to whatever it is. Or you can also douse the flame and kill the fire within the flame.
Absolutely.
That's the function of the environment. But there's also the internal environment, which is on your inside. The internal environment becomes even the strongest factor in this whole equation.
Wow.
Because most times, especially as a child, you can't choose the family you're born in.
Yes.
But at a point, as a child starts coming of age, the child starts building character. Character can be influenced by your environment, but at the end of the day, a time is coming you also are able to make choices. The choices you make would now be a function of what you have been deposited on your inside. Now, what is deposited on your inside comes first from your parents and all that, but at the point you start also depositing things on your inside.
Yes.
Through the things you read, the people you listen to, the associations you keep, those things are dropping seeds in your heart.
Yeah.
And these seeds are the things that will build resilience to be able to overcome your environment, especially when it's an environment that tends to limit your potentials. So for me, I spent a lot of time, especially when I started getting to this stage where I was trying to make these critical decisions in my life to myself. I started reading books. I started talking to people that I saw as successful. So it's important that you have models, role models around you. I will talk about mentorship in full.
And I wanna explore that with you.
Yeah. So I started feeding myself with the right resources. But beyond that, before we go to these very complicated things, even the kind of TV programs you watch, the kind of TV programs you watch, it creates. In fact, it will surprise you to note that my brother went to school in Dubai, not because my parents wanted him to go to Dubai. They gave him the option to go for his master's degree. He was thinking of going to England to go do his master's degree.
Okay.
But CNN shaped his decision behind going to Dubai, because we started watching Dubai and we realized Dubai was becoming a business hub.
Okay.
He was studying accounting. He wanted to build a career in the finance sector, and he started thinking, okay, would being in Dubai position me to become a successful finance professional and to hone my skills in business?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this: even the kind of programs you watch on TV is shaping your perception to life. It's shaping your ability to hone the skills within you. So if you feed yourself with the right resources, and that's why even as parents, you have to expose your children to the right resources that will start feeding them early. Another thing our parents did for us, for us as kids growing up, I told you my mom worked with the UN.
Yeah.
One of the things she does is that she takes us to the office once in a while.
Okay.
We follow her to this office. We see the environment. It creates an aspiration of the kind of environment I want to work in. She was working in a multicultural environment. In the office, they had a library, they had a gym, they had a restaurant. So we literally work with her from morning till night. So when we go with her by 8 a.m. these are the days we're on holiday.
Yeah.
When we go with her by 8 a.m. to the office, from there, we sit at a desk a little, drink coffee and all that. Then we go to the gym, play around in the gym. Then we go to the library. We read in the library and all that. All these things were shaping our mindsets.
Right.
One is that I appreciated what it's like being a professional. I had access to resources where I can read about a lot of things happening and all that. And all this culminated into shaping the kind of dreams that I started having for myself.
Wow.
And I would say, just those little seeds and inputs here and there are the main things that helped me to conquer the environment. Some of the people will grow up in the same environment, but because they've not fed their minds with the right resources, they are seeing all the inadequacies. I intentionally started by saying I'm an average guy because I would get into the subject of being average and how that alone is a limiting factor that can make you think you cannot be anything. The world says you have to be exceptional to be successful.
Exactly.
So when you're average, you're already inadequate. But what I'm saying is that how you feed your mind determines how you deal with the issue of being average. So we are in an inadequate environment. But I got to a point where instead of seeing all the limitations, they see Africa as poor, they see Africa as dysfunctional and things not working, I started seeing opportunities. There are problems here. What can I do to solve the problem? And how do I take on developing solutions for these problems? Yes, the technological tools are not there, but are there things I can do to start solving problems? And that's how it started.
So why don't we go even right deep? Yeah. What do you mean by average? Can you define that?
I think average is a mindset.
Okay.
People think average is a function of your ability. While that can be true, but beyond your ability is your mindset. The real limiting factor is your mindset. So there are the exceptional people. I like to teach a lot about this because I believe in life. This is my belief.
Yes,
And
please.
this is a principle I've worked with and I've taught people a lot
Okay.
with. A lot of people I mentor, I tell them, life, I believe we are grouped into two classes.
Mm-hmm.
We have the people that are exceptional. And I'll give you, when I teach on this story, I take a story from the Bible to tell
Okay.
you the story.
Yes, please.
There's
Take
a
us
story
there.
of two kids in the Bible that were born to Isaac,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife was he had two wives, Rachel and Leah or something. But he had two children that were twins. One was Esau, the other one was Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
And when Isaac was dying, he was old, and he said, "Okay, get my children. I want to bless them." And he said, "Get Esau." Esau was the firstborn, so Esau is naturally going to inherit a lot of his legacy.
Mm.
He said, "Get Esau. I want to bless Esau." And somehow his brother duped him, and the father was old, blind, and all that. And the brother duped him, and he ended up giving the blessing to this younger one instead of the first one.
Okay.
But
The younger one being
the other one being Jacob, yes, the younger one, he duped the father and took the blessing of the older one.
okay.
But that's not the real story. If you read the story between Esau and Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
Jacob always sort of was favored. He had an easy life. He was the loved one by his father and by the mother. His mother loved him so much. Things seemed to always work out for him. Jacob, who was the firstborn, things didn't seem to work out for him. Even when he was to be blessed, his brother still came out to give him.
Exactly. Yeah.
He also was a very hardworking guy. He had, the description there is that he's this guy that knows how to go and hunt and walk in the wild and get stuff and all that. He's a very hardworking guy, but everything he gets, he has to get through sweat.
Wow.
The other guy is favored, chilled at home, and things are just working for him. I believe that is a description of life where we find ourselves. In every generation,
Yeah.
in every population, there are people that I call the Esau generation and the Jacob generation. There are people that are classed into the Esau category and the Jacob category. The Esau category are the average people like you and I, who would have to work extra hard to get any results that we have to get.
Yeah. True.
Do you know what it takes to pass a typical engineering exam, our engineering maths? We have to read all night, we have to read all day, we have to put in everything. But I also know there are some people that I class as the Jacobs who, with minimal effort, little or no effort, they are shining.
Yes,
It's almost as if they are shining stars.
Yes.
Things just work out for them. I told you about what it takes to read for engineering because I had a friend like that in school. This girl I've never met anybody like her.
Interesting.
While we are working so hard to read to pass our exams, she's just exceptionally intelligent. And she will read, but she'll just put in a few hours. And next thing she says, "I'm tired, I want to sleep." I'm like, how can you sleep? The exam is going to be 24 hours. She's like, "I'm tired. Sleep."
Yeah.
And by the time we go to write the exam, she will do better than any of us that read.
Interesting.
She was just gifted. And you see these people, there are a lot of people like that out there.
There are.
But the truth is that they're in number, they are a smaller population. The larger population have to work extra hard to get results. So it's first important to know what category you find yourself.
Do you know what reminds me in today's world? It reminds me of in tennis and also in soccer or football. God, football, football and football. So in football, it reminds me of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi.
Exactly.
Messi is highly gifted.
Just highly gifted.
Yeah, highly gifted. Everything just flows. It's like a ballet dance. Same thing. But Cristiano
He has to work for it.
elite work ethic.
His work ethics.
In tennis, similar. Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal.
Nadal.
The same.
Nadal has to work it.
Extra.
So that's the reality of life.
Wow.
People that things will just work out for. There are people that have to work extra hard. In fact, most people have to work extra hard to yield results. So it's important to understand these dynamics of life. And when you understand that, then you realize that if you want to be exceptional, first of all, you are born average. You have to put in extra work to be everything.
Yes.
You're not the finest guy. So if the girls have to choose a guy, you're not going to be the one to look at this. So you have to speak better than the other guy. You have to dress better than the other guy. You have to do everything better.
Yeah.
So you realize that understanding that you're average is the first step to conquering the average mindset. So being average is not a limitation. Having an average mindset is what limits you.
Wow.
So first is that I'm saying, okay, I'm nothing exceptional. I'm just a normal guy. Therefore, if I want to live an exceptional life, what do? I need to start putting exceptional effort in specific places to yield desired results. Now, let me shock you. It is proven that a lot of the average people that consciously put in this exceptional effort in specific areas to yield desired results end up becoming more successful than the extra gifted ones. You gave example of Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah.
Who has more followership on social media?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Who is making more money right now?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's just it.
Yeah.
When you put in exceptional efforts in specific areas in order to get desired results, you would end up becoming more successful than somebody that is naturally gifted at those results. Because the guy is relying on his natural giftings, is relying on his favor, is relying on everything that is working for him. But there's a limit to which that can take you. The guy that has not got much working for him, but is putting in the right work ethics towards building the skills, he will end up catching up with you and surpassing you because of the ethics he has built. So for me, being an average guy, I just realized, man, I need to work hard. I need to put in some extra efforts to learn more. I need to, learn how to carry myself rightly, package myself rightly, and do the right things. And at the end of the day, that's what gave me the edge.
Wow. I love that. I know that. Honestly.
Yeah, by the way, I told you the story about Esau and Jacob. Guess what? At the end of the day, Jacob, yes, became very successful, but Esau also became successful, irrespective of the fact that he didn't get the blessing from his dad. But he also worked. So if you read the story in the Bible says that Esau ended up building cities.
Wow.
Despite not being blessed by his father, he ended up building cities and becoming successful also. Yeah.
You see? It all works out.
Yeah.
You build multinational organizations. You've worked in multinational organizations, in Abu Dhabi, in Qatar, in Iraq.
Yeah.
And you described it earlier saying you're an average person who just love to have an adventure. Man, you've had what an adventure. Can you walk me through those periods?
Yeah. Same thing. Remember, I would go back to saying what I said again.
Yeah.
An average person, putting in extra efforts to achieve desired results. That's what's got me to working at the global stage. While I was a young boy, remember I told you I had the passion for engineering and all that.
Yeah.
One of the things I told myself, remember I also talked about certain visions.
Yes.
So I had a vision for myself. I told you I've talked about the vision of the business, but I also had a vision for my career.
Can you articulate that?
Yes. So remember, I also talked about the inadequacies in the environment I lived in. Lack of technology, lack of support. There was also a lack of jobs.
Yes.
So a lot of people graduate from school, they're not able to get the desired jobs. However, as a young boy then, I sat one day and I was just challenging myself. The phones we use, they're all made in China. The cars we drive, they're all made in Europe. Everything is coming from somewhere. And everyone I see around me is not building nothing. The engineers I'm not seeing anything coming out from the so-called engineering that everyone around me is studying. Why would I go to school and come out again and call myself an engineer when I can't really do anything? So I told myself, I will study engineering, but I don't just want to be another engineer on the street. I want to be so good at engineering that I'll be able to stand anywhere in this world and stand as a professional in my field, and I will be respected. That was my goal.
Wow.
Irrespective of the fact that I was at the backside of nowhere, with all the inadequacies that you can think about and that you still know about Africa today. I told myself I'm going to stand as an engineer, anywhere in the world, and I will be seen as a professional and respected for my skills and competencies. What will it take to build myself to that level? That's the question you would be asking at this point.
I am.
So therefore, because I had the vision, I started thinking out of the box. While my mates were just thinking of graduating, getting a job and all that, I'm thinking, how can I build myself to a point where I'm globally recognized? I'm not just a local champion. I'm a global, professional.
Yes.
So I left school. I got my degree like every other person. And I started, I just started looking for information, reading more about what next I can do, trying to get a job and all that. And finally, I came across professional certifications that I could do, which are internationally recognized. And reading about professional certifications also helped me to start learning areas of expertise that I might want to build my career in.
Right.
Because it now makes you specialize in specific fields. So I started looking at different areas of specialization within my broad field of engineering. And with that, I got my professional certifications. I did all that. I finally traveled overseas and I got my first job. Obviously, at this point,
How did you get that?
Because I had the skills and competencies. Remember, I've passed my professional certification.
Yes.
And the professional certifications are just not a local certificate from your school.
Globally.
Because anybody can come with a certificate from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, from Nigeria, from Iran, from all that. That's your school. I don't know your school. But there is a regulatory body that regulates the field of practice and sets the standard, which is the minimum competency requirements to be able to do a particular job within an area of expertise. When that body certifies and says this guy is good, if you like, take it to Ouagadougou, or you take it to Kazakhstan.
Yes.
The point is that the regulatory body that guides the field of practice globally has said this. We have checked the competency of this
person,
and is able to practice at that field. That's what it means to be professionally certified within an area of core competence. So that was what I focused on achieving. And immediately I got that, I realized that I already now have what it takes to play globally. So by the time from that point till today, I always tell young people this story when I talk about my career. From that point till today, I've never gone for a job interview and they asked me what was the name of your school. In fact, they've never seen my degree from school. From that point till today, I've never presented my degree in school to any interviewer. Because what you're looking at is, you have this certification, you are skilled at this, tell me about what you've done. Tell me about your skill in this core area, because they're even interviewing you because they need that competency on the job. They don't need your school certificates. They need your professional competency, your ability to be able to deliver specific results in line with global best practice. So that was my goal, and that's where I got myself into.
Wow.
And the moment I was operating at that platform, I was able to get into interviews and talk as a professional, irrespective of the fact that I was pretty young. And that's got me going. So I was probably, this was around 24, 25 years old, when I had
You made that
this level.
Yeah.
I'd done that and I started practicing globally. So it ended up taking me from, I walked across the Middle East on major capital projects, from there, I worked in Dubai, Oman, worked on projects with Qatar.
Yeah.
I moved to Jordan. I worked in Jordan a little bit. I worked in Iraq, and from there I also took on projects in Europe, and managed a number of projects around Europe.
Any particular story with those adventures period in the Middle East that you could share?
Yeah, lots of stories.
With danger, because I imagine there are some, the Iraq being, torn with war and all those things. Were you there during
I was there just after the war, and that's part of the interesting stories about the things that come together to make you who you are today.
Please tell me anyone that jumps to mind now that is really something that can tell us more about your mental fortitude. That you could share.
The question is, what is life without an adventure?
Exactly.
Sometimes you just want to take adventures and step out of your comfort zone and see what's on the other side. That's my story behind Iraq. I'd never been to Iraq. I've never met an Iraqi in my life.
Yeah.
All I knew about Iraq was what I saw on CNN.
Yes.
There were bombs going on, going off, and people blowing themselves up and all that. So you really don't want to go there, and that was my perspective then. But I got an offer to go to Iraq. I got a good job. This was just after the war, 2012, and everyone was scared. I was scared. My parents were scared, and everybody. But I was single. I wasn't married.
Yeah.
For me, I just saw it as another adventure. Why shouldn't I go?
Exactly.
Of course, I didn't know what to expect, but I just felt like, yeah, I'm just gonna go there. And I try to share with my dad, and my dad, surprisingly, he's usually the one that is a bit conservative, but he was like, yeah, go,
Do it.
go, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
So I was living in Dubai then. And I remember when I was to go, the day I was to leave, I went to the airport. I was still a bit. I tried to read on the internet, what's it like in Iraq, and the stories were horrible. They said, in fact, if you're gonna have to land in Iraq, that's the planes have to do certain maneuvers before they land because they were being targeted by mortar guns by insurgents. So you have to do those maneuvers so you don't get shot down.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, what am I getting myself into? So yeah, but while I was sitting at the airport, I had just had a chat with one of the guy that was there. Apparently, he's worked in Iraq as a soldier, but this time around, he was no more. He was retired and he was just going as a consultant. And he just told me, "Yo, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine." And I went there, I landed, there were no maneuvers, there were no mortar guns and all that. We got out of the airport, I got into the city in Baghdad, got into my hotel, I saw that there were normal people like you and I.
You see.
It wasn't what I thought. The perspective was, the reality was totally different from what I saw. I'm not saying there weren't issues in the countries, man, but it wasn't a group of crazy people that were just blowing themselves up. There were the areas where there were issues, but life was still normal in many other areas.
Wow.
So I stayed there, and from there I ended up traveling across 4 different cities in Iraq.
Wow.
I went to Hila, I went to Karbala, I went to Basra, then also in Baghdad. Within this period, not once did I feel really threatened.
Really.
But of course, we had very robust security protocols, with which we work there as expatriates in those countries. But once you follow the protocols, you reduce your risk factors. But I'm just trying to say that it was a good experience. I was there for 9 months, and it was an amazing time. I enjoyed my time there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so good. Really, see, that's
Yeah.
isn't it beautiful? We all have these preconceptions about other cultures who we get to meet at a distance, but until you experience it at a real human level, you really don't know what you're dealing with. Yeah.
Definitely. Sometimes it's just I think the media shapes the mindset we have about life as a whole. And that's why it's very important we are careful how much we absorb from the media. Because it blocks your ability to even experience the beauty of life. Because you have created walls that have been shaped by preconceived mindsets that have been fed through media. Therefore, sometimes you just want to go beyond what you're hearing. Like I said, if I followed what I was hearing on TV, I would never be there. I would never have met the people. But when I went there, just shutting that down and being open-minded, I'm not saying take stupid risks.
Yeah.
Sometimes you should be open-minded to just exploring beyond the limitations of what you know.
Absolutely.
Like they say, traveling is an education. The more you travel, the more you learn, the more you see the reality of what life is like. So if there's anything I took away from there, is the fact that these are normal people, like people. Humans are the same thing everywhere. So if you want to have an idea what life is like in the interior ends of, the world, look at what life is like where you live. That's what it's like there.
Wow.
As long as it's humans that are there, it's a group of people that want to live normal lives. They want to have children, love on their children, love on their families, build successful families and all that. Yes, there'll be deviants. There'll be people that are crazy out of every population. But the normal human beings just want to live a happy life. And if there's anything I can attest to, that was what I saw there.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That is so good to hear and to know. It's very important. So from Iraq, you made that transition. What happened next? You moved to
So at some point we will get to some other projects I'm doing, which is
yeah.
I don't want to give I don't want to give I don't want to give any insights into that. But the story about Iraq is gonna lead me there.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll probably just pause it for there.
All right.
Get there.
Interesting. So from there, I want to transition to a space where, at what point did you make that decision of, okay, enough of working for somebody?
Yep. Now I think we're almost getting to the project.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
At what point did you do that? Because I'm curious. What was that? It seems like from all this adventure you've described, you are already a successful corporate engineer and a worker. What is it that is still not fulfilling that you made that decision? Okay, it's time.
Yeah. I think most times we want to do a lot of things in life. But a lot of the things we want to do requires courage. And people I can be very brutal when I have to, deal with certain issues, especially when mentoring people sometimes, because it's essential we tell ourselves the truth. Sometimes we mask cowardice with various forms of excuses.
Wow.
The moment you start telling yourself this is cowardice, this is inexcusable, then you would push yourself to make the right decisions. So what am I saying? There are so many people that are doing things that they wanted to do at some point, but they probably should not be doing anymore. But what do I do next? How do I do what I want to do next?
Yeah.
That question and that answer lies in your ability to take courageous steps, to move beyond what you're doing now to what you want to do next and what you should be doing next. Most times, because we are afraid, because we are uncertain, because I would say it's all, whatever reason comes under what I'll call cowardice. I know cowardice can be very brutal.
Yeah.
But I try to be very brutal with myself so that I will be motivated to get my ass up and do what I have to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes the fear, the real word is actually fear, but I'm just being very mean. The fear of stepping out to the unknown, hold us back, and we end up never really achieving the potentials of what we can be. So why did I say that? I use that as a foundation to basically define how I transitioned.
Yes.
Also, it's important to understand your seasons in life. This is very critical. It's important to understand your seasons. An understanding of your seasons would help you know what you should be doing part-time.
Yeah.
There is a time to be single. There's a time to get married. The things you do when you were single are different from the things you're going to be doing when you're married. Certain level of responsibility is required of you once you get married and you start having kids, because it's a new season. So imagine not understanding your seasons. You get married and you still want to hang out with the boys more than you are spending time with your family. You get married and you still want to spend more time playing PS5 and all that rather than spending time with your kids. It's not that doing that is bad, but it might just be a different season. What am I trying to say? Even in your professional journey and in your journey of life, you should be able to ask yourself, what season am I in?
Yeah.
What should I be doing? Is it the time for me to be adventurous? Is it the time for me to try out new stuff? Is it the time for me to take calculated risks? Is it the time for me to go all out? Then there's another season. Is it a time for me to be resting? Is it a time for me to be harvesting the seeds I've sown? Is it a time for me to be investing? There are different seasons within the life cycle of a typical human being. So at the early stages, there was a time when I was building myself professionally.
Yeah.
There's another season I got into where it required me to start acquiring skills, valuable skills. So that was done through working in multinational organizations. I'm building my technical skills. I'm building my professional skills. I'm building my soft skills, my relational skills, my ability to interact, my marketing skills, my business development skills, and my writing skills and all that. It was a season. But is it supposed to be forever? I also understood that it's going to come to an end at a point where I need to now take those skills and take them to the market myself and apply them. I won't constantly be in the safe zone where somebody else is utilizing my skills to do big things. Because yes, I'm building the skills. I'm now a very good writer. I'm a good engineer. I'm a good doctor. I'm a good pharmacist. And because of how good I am, the hospital is progressing. Clients are satisfied. The business is growing. Wonderful. But there's also a phase where I need to take those skills and take it to the market and build a product out of it and put it to work myself.
Yeah.
That's what I felt in my life. So I just realized I was at the end of a season and I needed to explore.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I want to stop you a little bit there.
Yeah.
Wow. You strike me, based on what we've talked so far, as somebody who deeply know themselves. Where is that coming from? Your ability to even know your seasons and be self-reflective. What is that? Yeah, where is that coming from? Is that just by nature? Are you this God-given? What is it?
Remember, I'm just an average guy.
Yeah.
Going back to that, nothing extraordinary.
The ability to really reflect, that is unbelievable. And how old were you at that period?
Oh, I started my business at 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
At 27, I started my business. I think between 27 and 30, I'd built the business. But I would say I started becoming very reflective when it's a function of how much you invest in yourself.
In between
What's
that
that?
period, sorry,
Yeah.
I had to say this because I don't want it to slip my mind. In between that period, where are your parents? Both mom and dad were
Mom,
alive?
dad, yeah, they were alive.
Yeah.
Mom was practicing still, in the UN.
Yes.
Dad had retired then and all that. They were just there, but they were happy that I was growing as a professional engineer. Nobody knew I was going to go back to business. Remember, I
Yeah.
talked about seasons.
Exactly.
In school, there was a season where I'd finished school, I started a small business. When I talk about the next project I'm working on, which I'm still putting on hold,
Yeah.
it's just a point of suspense for
We'll get there.
listeners.
Yes.
That season even of running that business came to an end.
Hmm.
And I got a job. And I built my career. And my parents were happy. Every season yielded its own results. So it was important to also distinguish between the results that were seasonal and the results that I'm supposed to carry on, producing on. So I understood that the result at that stage was just a seasonal result that will become a vital skill for the next season. So I stopped the business. I got into my professional career. I started building myself. And at some point, but in making these decisions, I would say it's the ability to intuitively make those decisions stemmed from the things I fed myself with in my younger days. Like I told you, I spent a lot of time reading, learning from a lot of resources, both internationally, locally, and all that. And it's opened my mind to start thinking out of the box.
Wow.
So I between 16 and 21, I would say I spent a lot of time just reading, just learning.
Wow.
And that's also taught.
What sort of books were you reading?
I think the first book that really changed my life was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's just blew my mind and it made me to just get myself up. The next, Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. I did a lot of those books and I can go on and on and on. So many of them. His 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by
yeah.
Covey,
Yeah.
and quite a few others. I started reading those books pretty early. But beyond, those books can also be very theoretical. You understand? Being able to bring it home and see how it applies to your day-to-day work is a different thing. Walking the talk is where the rubber hits the road. How the boat puts. So I'd read those books, but how do I apply it on a Monday when I go to face reality in school?
Exactly.
So that's the real thing. How do I even know at my life now I need to apply this particular principle? That's it. So I realized that the more I, the one thing you would also learn is that the brain is made up of muscles, and the more you exercise muscles, it grows. So the more you exercise your ability to make certain kinds of decisions, you become better at it.
Right.
So you become more intuitive. You start knowing yourself. Oh, I'm at a point now when I know that the end of a season has come. Because I've gone through so many seasons that I know. So time is crazy. It doesn't look like it, but because I've done it so many times, I know it's time to shut down and move to something else. So that's very critical, but you can't get it overnight. It's not just some magic wand that'll be raised, but you have to, go through the process. It's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging. That's why I was talking about also being adventurous and cowardice and all that. Some people even get that sense that it's already time to move on, but they're not brave enough to go into
then because that is comfort.
zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things we will talk about later.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's, for me, that's it.
So that reflection made you.
Yes,
It's
the
time to be.
reflection. I just knew it was time. I knew it was time because like I said, I've been there before. So the signs were there. It was all there. I would get into the signs, when I get into the other discussions.
All right.
But I just had to take the bold step, and because that's all that season was over. If I stayed any longer in the previous season, all the results I have will turn to frustration. That's what happens. All the results you've been achieving becomes totally nullified because you are now frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you're depressed, you're tired, you're exhausted.
Not enjoying
You're
the
not
thing.
enjoying it anymore. Something that used to be so exciting. So at the end of the day, it's better you just move than stay where you are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's the first company after the professional side?
Yeah. Okay. So
You've made that decision.
yeah.
You've reflected, and it's time to close that chapter.
Yeah.
Now, how did the new old now chapter? Yes. How did it start? The new chapter after professional.
Yeah. So that brings in another area of discussion,
Please.
which is the power of networking and relationships.
All right.
I really do believe that the biggest blessings we have as humans is the blessing of relationships. Everything you're looking for in life is tied to relationships. I mean, everything. The money you're trying to make is tied to relationships. Even the partner you're trying to marry is tied to relationships. What do I mean? You're going to meet your partner through someone. Someone might invite you to an event and there you meet your partner. Someone might invite you, just let's go to the bar to have a drink, and you meet somebody there. Someone might, relationship is the web that actually, is the web that actually creates all the results we are trying to achieve.
Yes.
The business you're trying to achieve is even, the products you're trying to sell is relationships. So I do believe that the biggest blessing we have as humans is the blessing of relationships. However, that blessing comes with a responsibility, which is your ability, first of all, to identify relationships. That's one. Number two, the ability to nurture relationships. Number three, the ability to harness relationships. And the ability to also the ability to also exploit relations. When I say exploit, not from a negative point of view, is to be able to get the best out of a relationship. So you're identifying it, you are nurturing it, you are harnessing it, and you're exploiting the benefits of the relationship in a positive way, not to negatively exploit.
Right.
These responsibilities lies with the individual. The design of relationships sometimes is beyond us. The design of relationships is beyond us. I'll give you an example. Even your family that you raise, you're born into, it's a relationship. It's a relationship you did not choose.
Yes.
It's a relationship that has just come to be. You don't have the ability, and there are many relationships we have in life that we don't have the ability to choose. One thing my mom always told me when I just started my career long ago is the fact that you do not have the ability to choose your boss. You can't choose your boss, but the boss will always choose who he's going to work with.
Yeah.
But you can't choose your boss. You send an application into the company. You didn't choose the boss. You just get in and, you suddenly find the boss might be nice. The boss might be good, might be bad, but whatever, he's your boss.
Yes.
So sometimes you can't choose the relationship of your boss. You can't choose the relationship of the family you're born into. You can't choose even the country you're born into. Sometimes, as kids, you can't actually.
You can.
Parents can, but you can't.
Yes.
So you realize many relationships around us we can't choose.
Mm.
There are also relationships we can choose. You can choose your partner. You can choose, a few other relationships in your life. But whatever the relationship is, whether the one you choose or the ones you don't choose, first, you need to be able to identify that there's a unique relationship here, which is identifying your relationship. So what kind of relationship do I have around me? Identify the opportunity that lies within that relationship. That's the first thing. Whether it's your family, what are the things? What value do I get from a family that I can't get from outside? It's identifying the relationship that you have and how it will be of value to you. The next is nurturing the relationship. You can't reap where you have not sown. Because you have identified that this relationship is a special gift I have.
Yes.
It's a special opportunity I have. I will consciously nurture it. Nurture it for good. You want to keep in touch. We'll make sure the relationship doesn't end on hi and hello and just exchange numbers and nothing again. We just want to say, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, because we're consciously nurturing the relationship. We just want to say, it's been a long time I spoke to you. I just thought I should say hello. It's not when you have a project of $1 million, you suddenly remember you met somebody somewhere, you say, come and give me $1 million. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
You need to consciously first nurture the relationship. First identify there's a relationship here. It's not just a random meeting. It's a relationship. It's a connection. The next is I'm nurturing it. Then like I said, when you've nurtured it and there's a mutual relationship, you start harnessing the relationship. What do I mean by harnessing it?
Yeah.
My relationship to you would never be of value if I don't bring in something that demands that creates a demand for the value you can create in that relationship.
Wow.
So I must draw out of the relationship. So I will bring in an opportunity that creates a demand for your ability to feed into that relationship. And that alone makes me to start harnessing the benefit of even being in a relationship with you.
Someone that I know, Paul Farmer used to call it, you come with a sense of generosity, come with a giving mindset, and then, always come with that, and then it will be at some point okay to ask.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
shout out to Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So you see, you've given a lot into building this relationship, nurturing it, and at the end of the day, so there are many people that have very amazing relationships that can be all these things I'm saying. I'm going to the question you asked, how did I start?
Exactly.
Many people have access to very amazing relationships, but they've never placed demand on the relationship because they first of all don't identify it. Some have identified it, some have nurtured it, but they're not harnessing it. So it ends at hello, hi, I know this person. Yes, we know each other. We ring each other, and that's all it has to offer. So you must be able to harness it. I must be able to say, okay, Halil, you're skilled at podcasts. I know that. How can podcasting be of value to me at this point in time? What can I do that Halil can be of value to me? So when I bring it in, because of the value that we have created in that relationship, we are able to use your platform as a springboard to facilitate the things I'm trying to do.
Practical.
So I don't need to go and start learning how to do podcast and living life in my own cocoon, acquiring all the skills. I can easily harness the skills that comes through relationships. And at the end of the day, it's a win-win. You're doing your podcast. I'm also getting visibility and my voice is heard globally.
Absolutely.
Just through relationships.
Yes.
If I don't have a relationship with you, you will charge me an arm and a leg to sit and have your time with me. So what I'm saying is this: you build a relationship, you nurture it, you harness it. Then finally, being able to exploit the relationship properly. I was already getting into it from harnessing it.
Yeah.
When you bring something of value,
Yeah.
we are now able to come together to get the benefits from being in this relationship, because we now build a platform that now start generating income. It starts feeding us. We are actually exploiting the benefits of having relationships.
Yeah.
There are some people that they've come together, they've seen the opportunity, they've harnessed, but they've built nothing. So they are not exploiting the benefit of the relationship. The relationship is there. It's a good one. We know both of us have skills, but we're doing nothing with it. So
I mean,
value is it?
take a good example. Let me draw in Jova into the mix.
Yeah.
What? We met what? Like 7 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's relationships that's brought all this.
Yes. Someday somebody is going to be asking.
I love you, man.
Someday somebody is going to be asking, how did you build the biggest platform, the biggest podcast platform in the world? How do you have over 10 million people listening to you on monthly basis? How did you do that? How did you even choose the right equipment? And you say, I knew nothing about equipment. There was a guy called Juven. I met him randomly. I shared the vision. We found a place of common interest, and we
Right.
decided to start building.
Exactly.
Everybody brought what he could offer into the relationship, and at the end of the day, you started making magic.
Exactly.
And that's the story behind my company.
Wow.
So,
Oh my gosh.
so yeah, so bringing it home to your question,
Yes.
I met my business partner at a birthday party of a 2-year-old child,
Interesting.
where there were many other people, and I met many other people, but I met my business partner and identified that this is a potential relationship. It wasn't we weren't talking business, but it was just a good relationship to have. And we shared, I could have as well come there and keep quiet. No shade to introverts, but I can say I'm an introvert. I'm not going to say hello to anybody
Yeah.
because I'm not consciously out to build relationships. And that's why opportunities bypass a lot of people. Just being on the bus and giving a polite hello to say, hello, good day, how are you doing? Where you from? That starts a conversation
Exactly.
because you're consciously out to build relationships. And that is what it was. My business partner is a lady. She's also Nigerian, but she's not from South. She's from the northern part of Nigeria. So we grew up under different cultures. We are different genders, and we're even different religions. So there were every reason why we should not even be in a relationship. So she's Muslim, I'm Christian. She's a lady, I'm a guy. She's from the north, I'm from the south. She grew up, she schooled in England, and all that. We met in Dubai, and we didn't really have much in common.
Wow.
All we had in common was that a 2-year-old child was having a birthday party, and we met. But somebody needed to break the ice, and somebody said hello to the other, and we started talking. From having that first conversation, it would have ended there. Remember I talked about identifying the relationship. So I identified, okay, I said hello to her. Then the next is nurturing the relationship. After that, I would have easily told stories. I met 1,001 people, and she's just one of the people I met. But after that, I felt there was a need to continue a conversation. To say, oh, how was your week today? How's work and all that? And we actually met at the second outing where mutual friends of ours went out we had barbecue by the beach, Jumeirah Beach in Dubai. And she came again, and I was like, oh, I remember meeting you the other day. And we started talking again. Then, after we talked that second time, remember, I talked about harnessing relationships at the next stage. I talked about exploiting relationship by creating value.
Yeah.
Meaning you need to have something of value to bring into a relationship also.
Yeah.
For you to be able to get the best out of that relationship. So before I met her, I've already started conceiving the idea of starting the business.
Yeah.
I've already walked my plan. I had a plan in place, but I didn't know where to start from. I just had a plan, and I had the vision clearly outlined, but I didn't know where to start from. I've spoken to a number of people randomly. Yeah, everybody I spoke with thought I had a bright vision, and they were like, "Go, I think you should go for it." But it wasn't really getting me there. Because you meet a lot of people in the process of trying to build your vision.
Yeah.
But who you're going to build with or how you're going to build these are things you would get to find out over time. So just like every other person also, after we met the second time, I shared the vision that, okay, because what do you do? I'm an engineer. She wasn't practicing. She was working in the finance sector.
I see.
So she had nothing to do with oil and gas or all that. And I said, I'm in oil and gas. However, I'm at this phase where I'm thinking of doing X, Y, Z and all that. Just sharing my story, sharing my vision sort of resonated with her.
Yes.
And that's where the relationship started. So we felt there was a need to discuss that again. And we had a second meeting.
Yeah.
And at some point, I told her, don't you think you should come and be my partner? And she says, I don't know anything about the industry. Where am I going to start from? Said, no, don't worry. We would work together. I too have never run a business before. You have something. I have something. I have the technical knowledge, the industry knowledge. I have the technical skills. I can help to build this company technically. You have an MBA. You are working in the finance sector.
Yeah.
Bring your business skills, bring your finance skills. I bring my technical knowledge, and we're going to build something.
Yes.
And at that point, she was like, that sounds interesting. So that now brought value where we can start harnessing the strengths that we have in this relationship. Now, to get to the point where we start exploiting value from this relationship or getting value out of it, I'm always uncomfortable when I use the word exploit, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's actually getting value, not in a negative way.
Exactly.
We decided, okay, we know we have the skills, we know we can do stuff together, we have a vision. Then what can we build? That's when we started designing products, services, and offerings that we can take to the market.
Wow.
That is what birthed the company. It's everybody calls it Carnegie, spelled Carnegie, but it's actually synergy. So it's actually a synergy between both of us.
Oh,
That's how we came across
the name.
synergy, but we had to play around with the name.
Okay.
In synergy, there are a million and one synergy.
Synergy. Yeah. So yours came with the soul.
That was the whole goal. And that's how the name came about. So we started the company, and the vision was simple: to be able to support asset owners in emerging markets to optimize performance of their assets and or to optimize performance and value from their assets. So when I'm talking about assets, now I'm talking about engineering assets. So we looked at Africa. There are a lot of assets that are depreciating. There are a lot of infrastructures that are breaking down. You have roads that are dilapidated, bridges that are not properly maintained. You have oil and gas infrastructure that is not producing optimally. You have refineries that are shut down. How can we go in there and help governments, help operators to optimize performance of critical assets in these emerging markets?
Wow.
And in that way, we are creating value. That's exploiting the strengths of this relationship now. And with that, somebody brought in contacts, another person brought in skills, and we went into the market and we started creating value. And the rest is history. That's how we built till today.
With that, is it together you build now to six?
Yeah.
Six different
So
products.
we
companies.
at the moment we've also still done a few things on our own.
Yeah.
But within the main group, Signage Group, we actually built 5 companies within Signage Group.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've built a few others actually on my own outside Signage. Yeah, she's also done some things super big.
Do you have a blueprint on how to identify problems and turn that into opportunity?
I think problems are around us every day. Identifying problems are not hard.
Then how do you turn it
Actually,
into
is the real problem.
Yes, then
It's
how
the
do you
real
go with it?
challenge.
Yes.
Because the truth is that everybody talks about the problem.
Yes. True.
So in turning it into an opportunity is consciously deciding, I'm stepping away from talking about the problem to start thinking about solving the problem. So it's a paradigm shift that I'm not waiting for somebody to solve the problem. I'm now going to be asking myself, what role do I have to play in solving this problem? The moment you continue to absorb yourself of the responsibility of solving the problem, you will never come up with the blueprint on how to solve the problem.
True.
So take responsibility. Okay, there's a problem. Things are not working in the society. We're living in Australia today. There's a problem with homes.
Yes.
Shortage of homes. We can complain a lot about the government. I personally think the government can put in a lot of policies that will help to increase housing availability for Australians. But is there a role I can play in creating affordable homes for Australians today?
Exactly.
Because I can be part of that solution. And the moment I take the responsibility as part of the solution, rather than just talking and arguing about the roles that government is supposed to play, which is absorbing responsibility from myself to the government, then I cannot harness the opportunity that comes with the current problems we're facing in Australia today.
So which means every problem is only looking for the right person who is willing to roll up their sleeve and get to work.
Exactly. And the question is that, are you willing to be that person?
Exactly.
So the moment you decide I want to be that person, I'm not trying to say the answer is going to come immediately. But all you need to do is consistently ask the right question. What can I do to solve the problem? Where am I going to start from? What do I have that I think would help in solving those problems? The more you ask the question, you will finally get the answer.
And I learned the fourth one from you today. What relationship?
Do I have around me that I can harness to solve the problem?
Amazing, mate. Goodness. Speaking of season, you talk about knowing your season and knowing to move on. I want to take you to a season that you were never prepared for. Last year. I mean, it's amazing that you are even here smiling. It's incredible. Last year, I think about 3-4 months back, that's when I at least the real goodness started coming out. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. I remember seeing you 5 months ago. You were like very skinny.
Incapacitated.
Yeah. I want to take you back to that moment. If I may. You had an incredible health challenge that you couldn't make sense of. Can you take me to that day?
That's another journey of life on its own. Life can be very unpredictable at some point. But in it all, if there's anything, I've drawn a lot of strength from that experience. It was just a day like any other day, just like this. I was doing what I love doing, which was consulting. I went out doing presentations to clients and doing everything. And just from before midday, I started feeling funny, pain in my chest, just normal. By the way, I've always been very healthy, no issues, no family history of anything. And so when you have just a little ailment like that, you just think it's one of those things. But before the evening hours in the day, like I told you, I was facilitating a presentation that day. Before the latter hours of the day, the pain in the chest had increased a lot more. And I ended up in the emergency that evening. Ended up spending over 8 hours in the emergency, of which they were trying to diagnose what was wrong. They couldn't identify what was wrong. This was at the Princess Alexandria Hospital in Brisbane here. So they ended up doing everything from ECG to everything you can think about, lots of blood scan and all that. I just had a pain in my chest and they couldn't identify. So one day turned to 2 days. I left the emergency, went back home, and by the next day the pain was even a lot worse. I went back to the emergency the second time. They continued their test. The third day, by then, the pain had graduated to my neck. I couldn't move my neck anymore. From there, it had graduated to my hand. I couldn't move my hand, later my legs. And before you know it, within 2 weeks, I was in the emergency about 8 times. And I've done over almost 30 blood tests, and aside many other tests that I've done. And was finally admitted in the hospital. That became a 2-month journey of just trying to diagnose what was wrong, where doctors could not even tell what was wrong at all. I was, bedridden in the hospital, and at some point they had to discharge me. Lots of specialists working at the same time. This was in QE2 hospital. Finally, I got diagnosed with a condition called adult onset Still's disease, which is an autoimmune disease, very, very, very similar to rheumatoid arthritis. Also, actually, some rheumatoid arthritis and adult onset Still's disease together. So I got diagnosed with that, and it's something I've never heard of. I didn't even know how to pronounce the name when I was told. I don't know anybody that's ever had it before. So it basically over, I think, from what I saw in the reports, over 28 joints in my body were inflamed, totally inflamed. And because of that, I couldn't walk. I was on a wheelchair. I couldn't do anything. That's slowed me down. That's made me to start reflecting. In fact, I was at a point where, especially when the doctors can't even tell what is wrong with you.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you can't dress yourself, you can't bathe yourself, you can't do anything. You're totally dependent at this point. You're literally totally disabled. You can't do anything. You start reflecting. And especially when you're young and you're going through that, it's a time of reflection. For me, I'm a Christian. I spent time praying. I spent time talking to God, reading my Bible, trying to understand what this phase of life is for me, what is teaching me, what God has got in plan for me for the next phase of my life, and all that. And still praying that I get back on my feet. And at some point they were finally able to diagnose, and when they were able to diagnose this, then they now started treating. So all they've been doing before was just trying to manage symptoms without necessarily treating. And when they started treating, of course, it's also a process where they start testing drugs, all kinds of drugs and medications and all that, just to see how you're going to respond, if any is going to get better, if any would bring improvement. And finally, I started getting back on my feet. But the most trying of the biggest challenge you go through going through that is being able to stay to hold yourself together mentally. The psychological and mental trauma you go through from being very active, being very successful, being very traveling all over the world, closing business deals, doing a lot of big things, to becoming totally incapacitated, where you can't play with your kids, you can't even put a spoon in your mouth to eat, you can't do any, you can't get up from the bed except someone comes to carry you up. Then at that point, you need the strength, the mental strength, to be able to pull through. You need to also have um you need to have something that is bigger than you, because at this point you are nothing anymore. So there needs to be something to hold on to hang on to, that is able to keep you through. And for me at that point, it was God that I just had to hold on to, because I knew that I had the conviction that God is not done with me yet. I've got a lot of big dreams I'm pursuing, and this is not going to be the end of it all. I'm going to get up from here. I'm going to do better than I've ever done. But when I'm going to get up, I didn't know. But I just had that conviction that this is just one of the things that at the end of the day, when it turns around, is going to be another story that somebody's going to learn from. And that was my journey through that phase. Yeah. I'm still dealing with it, but of course you can see I'm in a far better place today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine. Because the you that I know always as a
Yeah.
I've had to take some time, and someone left you a message, and I wanted to listen to it.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna play it for you.
So when Goodness first got sick, it was honestly really surprising because we didn't fully understand what was going on. In many ways, we still don't understand what's going on, and we don't have all the answers. And that uncertainty was one of the hardest parts, not knowing what we're dealing with or what the future would look like. I can't imagine the mental pressure it placed on him, trying to process his health while still wanting to show up as a husband and a father. And yet, I am so proud of him. He pushed hard. Even on difficult days, he kept finding ways to be present, to love us, and to lead our family. For me, the mental and physical load was also a lot. It stretched me in ways I didn't expect. But I think this journey has shown us how resilient we are as individuals and as a couple, as a family. We're still on the road to recovery, but we're stronger, we're more grounded, and we're more intentional about the life we're building going forward. Thank you.
Wow. I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't see that coming. Yeah. I think that says it all. that says, oh, that's not more that I can add to that,
Who is that?
Oh yeah, that's the only person that went through this with me, and that's my wife. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
boys. Yeah.
What was it like in those darkest moments where you had to rely on her fully?
Yeah. In the Bible, it says that he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God.
Hmm.
It's essential. You can't underestimate the value that a wife brings into your life. If she wasn't in my life, I'll probably be dead by now, because there's no way I would have gone through that. There's no way that I would have gone through that. So I thank God for the blessing of having a good wife, that can be there by your side through the thick and the thin. When we are getting married and you're saying your vows and you're doing for better, for worse, we just think about the better. You don't think about these days. Moving from being the guy that could do everything, provide everything for the family, be there for everybody, to the point where you are now totally dependent on her for everything. It was tough. And she knew that I was also going through the mental, I'm a very positive and optimistic person. So even when I was down, I was deep on trying to encourage everybody. Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be up soon and all that. But deep down, um, I knew it's tough.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know what is wrong with you. Talk less of saying you're getting better.
Exactly.
I lost 11 kg in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So you're losing weight, you're just going down. And you're deteriorating. Before, you thought you just had a pain on the chest. All of a sudden, you can't use your hand. All of a sudden, you can't use your leg. All of a sudden, you can't get up anymore. All of a sudden, everything has gone from bad to worse. It was just as if it was getting worse every day. We never knew if I would ever be able to go back to work and work anymore. We never knew if I was going to be able to, even play with my kids. At the point, I couldn't play with the kids anymore, because I couldn't play with them, So we never knew what the future was going to hold. But in it all, she stayed strong and she kept on pushing. She never, for once, made me feel like, things are not going to get better. And
Wow.
so I can't thank her enough. I just want to, use this opportunity to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, that's it. I'm
Amazing, man. Amazing. And my prayer for you is that may you continue to progress well and be bigger and better than this. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
it's only gonna get better. We have no choice. We have come this far.
Exactly. It will. And I'm very sure together you can move all kinds of mountains.
Thank you.
Yeah. On a lighter note, goodness, looking towards the next season, man.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Where do we start from?
I want to go and start with the book.
Oh, that's the secret, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, drum roll.
Which is a secret I will be building on.
Yeah.
It's called Just Quit Your Way to Success. Just quit.
Just quit.
Quit your way to success. The end of quiet quitting. Man, I love the title, first of all. And I can almost see the pattern.
Yeah.
With the average thing you mentioned in the beginning. Why are you writing this book now?
Oh.
Tell me about it.
I think I'm writing from a place of passion.
Hmm.
I have a burden to impact people around me, especially young people. And also, I wouldn't say only young because I've worked with a lot of older and more mature audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work across generations, talking to them, sharing, helping them navigate some of the challenges of life. But in everything I do, I work with people through my experience, not through theories from books. No. Everything I've shared today, Everything I've shared today, not one have I shared a theory. Not once have I shared a theory that I picked up from a book. Everything I've shared today are things that I have done, I have experienced, skills that I've put to use and I've gotten results from. So based on that, I'm able to mentor people and able to teach them how to navigate some of the toughest challenges in life.
Yeah.
Especially making critical decisions in life. So having mentored a lot of people, worked with a lot of young people, I felt one of the ways to be able to take this message beyond the number of people that have access to me is to put it down in a book where it can transcend generations, it can transcend cultures and transcend geographical limitations.
Yeah.
And that is the story behind the book, and that's why I'm writing the book. Basically telling my own story, giving practical real life experiences, having come from some of the toughest environments you can talk about, being average in a tough environment on its own.
Yeah.
That's the story behind the book. Yeah.
Yeah, we can put that in. Yeah. Interesting. And when thinking of the audience that you're writing this book for, what will you want them to take away out of that?
Oh. Your story is not unique. Everybody has a story that is relatable in one way or the other with someone else somewhere in the world. So you might be somewhere in America thinking that what you're going through is the worst experience someone can ever experience. Probably your wife have left you, your child is doing drugs, you've lost your job and all that, and there is no way out of it all. Somebody else might be somewhere down in Africa, somewhere in Zimbabwe, and he's graduated with a first class. He can't get a job because the economy is very bad and there is no hope. And what's life going to be for me? And some other person is in Australia, and his own story is totally different. But we all have our challenges that we are facing. In it all, one of the similarities we have is that the skills we will use in overcoming these different challenges in the different locations we are usually the same.
Yeah.
It's a skill of resilience, it's a skill of courage, and a skill of clarity of purpose and vision. Having a sense of purpose, having clarity of vision, being resilient, and being courageous to be able to take the right decisions when you need to take them. That is what will make the difference, irrespective of where you are. The stories might be different, but the decision-making process has to be the same thing. The kind of decisions we are going to make, the choices we're going to make, and the determination to make those choices is the same thing you're going to use, whether you're in Zimbabwe, in America, or in Australia. And that's the story behind it. That's what I want everyone to take away.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really want to read this book. Is there a timeline when we should anticipate it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be out this year. It's not going to go beyond this year. So we're looking at probably towards the third quarter of the year. To be able to get it out. Yeah, because we are almost 90% done. We're just finishing I'm done with the writing basically. We're just doing a little bit of review, editing and all that.
Wow.
It's published, yeah.
So can I get a yes that we are going to have an exclusive sit down with you just when the book is ready?
Definitely. By the way, you are the first time discussing this book with Okunli. So
Wow.
So you're gonna be getting a sneak peek into the book before it's out.
That is so good.
Yeah, it's
I would be so honored, brother.
wonderful.
Honestly. I've got a couple of questions for you before we wrap up.
Yeah.
And by the way, full disclosure, I think I want to have a part 2 with you. This thought came to my mind as we're having the interaction, where we are gonna take scenarios and unpack it.
Yep.
In leadership, in culture building.
Yep.
I want to do that with you.
Okay. Wonderful.
And before that, we are gonna do a bit of deliberation and see how we are gonna really, really deliver more value to our audience. But knowing what you know now, with all the journey, is there anything you will change?
No. If there's anything I would change, it's to make the decisions I need to make faster.
Interesting.
And I'll tie it to the title of the book, Just Quit. Sometimes you have to be determined to quit. We have learned in life not to quit at all.
Yeah.
Oh, don't quit. And in fact, quitting,
Never give up.
Never give up. Quitting has become a thing of shame. So we quit secretly. A lot of people are hiding to quit.
Interesting.
A lot of people are hiding to quit. A lot of people are hiding to, you can't tell your story. When we get a new job, it's on LinkedIn. I'm happy to share that I've started this new position. But nobody is happy to share that he lost his job. Nobody is happy to share that I finally resigned the job that had been depressing me for so
long. Yeah.
We're only happy to share that we are starting a new job.
Yeah.
And that is what the story we are changing through the book.
Interesting.
That's what I'm trying to get across to people. That quitting might just be the blessing you need to kickstart your next level.
Honestly, it's like you're talking to me.
Quitting might just be the blessing you need, the catalyst you need to kickstart your next level.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to quit?
I kept holding back on a lot of things when I was talking before.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get into the subject of quitting.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I moved from one season to the other. I actually quit one season to get into the other. You cannot get into the other season until you quit the first. And sometimes.
So are you telling me you cannot be one leg in, another leg out?
I have a simple principle I give to people when I tell them. So let me answer you.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do business. If you talk to every civil servant today, they're talking side hustle. Oh, some people, I'm tired of my job. Do you know how many people complain of their jobs every day? Majority of the people that complain of their jobs have been complaining for years and will continue to complain till they retire.
Very true.
Everybody complains. But what do you do to change the situation? That's the question. Part of the reasons why people are afraid to quit their job is, where am I going to survive from? What am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills and all that? Which is valid. The point if there's anything I've learned is that, yes, while it's good to do side hustle, it's good to have your legs here and still have the security of your job and all that. Then when this grow, that's the ideal fantasy of
yes.
I'm just gonna do this podcast by the side while I continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When the podcast becomes the next big thing and
it's
the ideal thing. But I'm telling you, that ideal situation never happens most times. 99.99% of.
Tell me why.
Simple principle.
Yes.
You can never achieve full-time results putting in part-time efforts. If you want full-time results, you must put in full-time efforts. We can't put part-time effort and get full-time results. Do you know why you get paid?
I have to turn and look at job and there. Yeah. Oh my God.
You know why you get paid the full salary you get every day from your job? Because you put in full-time. That's why it's called full-time. 9 to 5, you're there putting in your time, your attention, your energy, your skills, your knowledge into achieving a singular result. Imagine if you put in that energy into your podcast. 8 hours every day, you're putting in every skill, every knowledge, every energy, every time for 8 hours every day, consistently, 365 days a week. There's no reason why you would not be the next big thing.
No reason.
But the moment you are putting in 1 hour here, when you have the free time from the full time that you're really doing, then you put it here. Then it will give you 1 hour result.
So now going back to your practicality of your book, I need to challenge you here. We have to also look at the reality of our situation. How can I work with the reality of my situation when I don't have all the money or resources in the world?
Beautiful.
To say I'm going to pursue this thing full time when it's not paying me yet.
It's simple.
While at the same time saying, let go of the thing that is paying me.
I'll tell you.
I used to challenge you there.
There's a section of the book there's a chapter in the book that's titled let me say it's risky not to take risk.
It's risky not to take risk.
It's risky not to take risk. It's about risk taking. A lot of people would continue to complain of their jobs till they die because the risk appetite is not there. I'm not saying take foolish risks. calculate your risk, but at some point you must take risk.
True.
So what am I saying? If the whole money is not there, for me, my principle is this. From them, except you, like I said, it's not bad to be a follower. There are people that are called to be followers, and they will be the best followers. It's okay. It's okay to be second, and you mustn't always be the first.
Yes.
And you will do very well being the second if that's what you are cut out to be. Be the best second man that they've ever known in the world, and you'll be fulfilled. But if you're called to be that first, and today you're second, from the first day you take the second position, know that you are there to learn what it takes to be first. And you can never be in class forever. A time is coming, you must graduate. So now we are there, we are on the job. I know the job is not my end point. So from the first day I get my letter of employment, I know there's a day I'm leaving this job. Because I'm not there to be there forever. So what do I do? From day one, I start acquiring what it takes to live.
Wow.
I put out some savings. I put out the skills I need to learn. I set a timeline when I need to learn those skills, and I say it's enough. So if it's 4 years, after 4 years, I'm quitting. That's why we get to the topic. Just quit. The moment you start staying beyond 4 years, you're overstaying your welcome.
That's true.
So, because why do I know it's 4 years? Because I know within 4 years I've acquired the skills. I'm just using tentative.
Yeah.
I've acquired the skills. I've saved some money. I've done certain things. And once I get to that point, I move.
It's time.
You move on. You must be able to say, because the money will never be enough. That's the truth. As you grow in life, your needs grow. But at what point am I going to say, I'm stepping out, I'm taking the risk? Sometimes it might not even be savings. It might just be, I've now gotten married, so I have an extra income. Maybe it's time I'm now going to take more risk while my wife is sort of a cushion to support the family front while I go out and I venture to pursue the things I'm passionate about. If you never set out to quit, to leave what is your so-called security, you will never be adventurous enough to go and pursue the real dreams that will bring you satisfaction. So it's easy to tell stories like mine, to say, oh, you moved from here to this other place, you did big things. Every one of them came with a decision like you are painting right now. A tough decision where there was so much at risk that if I failed, I might end up ruining my whole life.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the equation, if I succeed, I might end up being so successful that I'll be sitting on a podcast like this to tell my story. Therefore, the end result of success was the driving force that made me to be able to step out to take the risk. I can as well look at the impact of failure, but I decided to look at the cup as half full rather than half empty. And I said I'd rather launch out, put in my all. I tried to do the part-time thing, and I just knew that I can't get results.
You can.
I can't get the desired results.
Yes.
So I would rather I told myself, if I put in this energy doing my own thing, the same energy I used to go to, I show up on time in the office. I can't tell my boss I'm late. I'm showing up on time in my own business. I'm working till I'm not closing by 12 a.m. 12 p.m. because it's my business. Instead, I'm working extra hours. I'm setting goals. I'm meeting my deadlines, because in every office you must deliver you must meet up with your deliverables. I'm using the same ideology to run my business. You will achieve results. You will achieve results. And that's the principle. The real problem is not whether you'll be successful. The real problem is, are you brave enough to jump into the deep and pursue your dreams, your passion? That's the real problem. So the courage is the real issue here, not whether it's gonna work or not.
Thank God I am sitting. If I am standing, I would have collapsed. Yeah, man. Oh, man. That is so true. That is so true.
That's it.
Please finish this book as soon as possible. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, please. Yeah. Wow.
So
that is so true.
Maybe at some point to do a deep dive into some.
I would love to do that. I want to do a deep dive into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But just for the audience listening, the whole idea behind this conversation is to be able to, with the book we're talking about, is to be able to inspire you to be able to step out and do the things that you're passionate about, even if it means quitting on what you're doing at the moment. Everybody would try to tell you that quitting might mean a loss. But I'm telling you that quitting might just be the blessing you need. If it's not bringing the fulfillment you want, it's not bringing the satisfaction you want, it's bringing depression, it's bringing pain, it's bringing frustration, it's not delivering the results you desire. There is no other sign you need to tell you that it is time to start looking out for other things. Complaining won't solve the problem. Sometimes quitting is the solution. I'm not saying go start a business. A business might be what you might want to do, but it might just be getting another job. I have resigned jobs. I've resigned from a company without having another job. I didn't wait to get another job before I resigned.
Why did you do that?
I just knew that I shouldn't be in this job anymore. The job, I was frustrated.
Because you are prioritizing your...
Exactly. I was prioritizing my own peace, my passion, but not just peace alone. I knew that I needed to focus on getting the next job. So this job was taking my time, was not allowing me develop myself, was not allowing me acquire the skills I need to go and get the job I want. Some jobs won't even allow you go for interviews. And you're tired of the job, you want to leave, you don't even have time to go for interviews. How are you going to get the job?
Exactly.
So sometimes you just need to know when to shut the door and venture into the next thing. One of the things I've not talked about in this podcast, which I'll touch on in our next conversation, is the fact that I'm also naturally adventurous. So sometimes it's even if it's not so clear, I'm just going to take the risk and go out and try to do something. And every time I've jumped out, it always came out better.
All right.
Yeah.
Before we go on to closing, I wanted to ask, is there something that, or a question that I supposed to ask, or anything that you wanted us to touch on that I haven't? One last thing.
I think if there's anything I would just want us to touch about is what the future holds.
Exactly.
In it all,
So, what is the future hold for you?
It's exciting.
Because I'm curious,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
it's exciting. I think I've not done anything yet.
Yeah.
Sure, it's great. I'm pretty young, I'm just turning 40,
Mhm.
and I think I've just gotten started.
Exactly.
So there's so much to do. There are new businesses to build. I'm currently venturing into new sectors beyond engineering.
Okay.
I'm venturing into healthcare. I'm still running engineering businesses. So
I see.
I'm venturing into new geographies, new countries, also honing my leadership skills more.
Okay.
I'm sitting on boards at the moment, and there's just a lot that is going on. And most importantly, the most exciting for me is that I'm also seeing a future where I spend more time with my family.
Nice.
And just having family time and being able to watch my kids grow and enjoy the beauty of having family around. That's the excitement for me for the nearest future.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you. You've got the book, new ventures coming. We have to have part 2.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Definitely.
And maybe third quarter of the year.
Oh yeah.
That would be a special segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so watch out for it.
Call me on.
Yeah. So we have a closing tradition in this podcast where we leave the guests with 2 questions and expecting their perspective on. The first one is, what's one quote or principle you live by and why?
One quote's principle that I live by is the fact that as far as your eyes can see, that's what God will give to you. So it's your responsibility to see. Crafting vision is your responsibility. I always tell people you don't pay to dream. So dream and dream big. If you limit your dreams, you are limiting your potentials and you are limiting how far you can go. So don't allow the environment or the situations around you limit your dreams. So if there's anybody that have known me from time, I've sang it over and over again. As far as your eyes can see, that's what God is going to give to you. If you see yourself just having a shop on the streets, that's all you get. If you see yourself owning a conglomerate that would be known all over the world, that's what you get. I believe when Facebook started, they didn't set out to, yes, they started as a small company, but they had this vision of developing social media where people will come and yes, it might start small, but the vision continues to expand. But that's just seeing a big thing, seeing them conquering the world is taking them to where they are today. So that's my personal driving force.
I loved I love that more than you can imagine. Second one, what's one question you wanted answered and you haven't yet got an answer for yet, right now?
One question that I've not gotten an answer for. I think that would be why a lot of successful entrepreneurs seem not to have a balanced life, especially when it comes to the family front. You see a lot of successful people, they are very, I wouldn't say I've not gotten an answer for it, but it's something you keep getting the various answers to. For me, because I'm taking that same path, I'm building a business and all that, I don't want to be a successful guy that is not able to balance every other part of life. In as much as I've gotten a lot of answers, I have mentors and all that, but I would say it's a question that's constantly burning in my head. And for me, because I'm constantly asking that question, it's making me to check myself to ensure I'm not tilting to one extreme or the other, so that I can have a balanced life as a whole. Whether you're talking health, family, money, and every other thing you want, and even spirituality,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you have a balanced life. That's it. Why are many successful people not balanced on this side, on the other side of life? That's it.
Amazing. I hope you may have some kind of answers when we meet for part 2.
I'll probably write a book on that.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so good. Goodness, what a life, what a journey, what a ride. Thank you for gracing us with your time,
Thank you.
the energy you brought. You took me to school, man. You took me to school, and I'm so grateful we had this chat.
Thank you.
The world needs to hear it from you, and I can't wait to see the life you are going to change with this book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure.
And that's the wrap, everyone.
Thank you.